Hey guys, welcome back to more AFK Arena. In today's video, I wanted to take a look at this Reddit post, which is for an endgame tier list. Now, I've had people asking me for an endgame tier list forever, but honestly, it is just too hard to actually format this and make it work. So I wanted to show you guys this one because this is probably the best representation that I've seen. Now, I have passed this around to a few players that I know are very high end and stuff like that. Everyone has their own opinions and it's not going to be perfect, but I feel like this is just a good representation to show you guys. So first of all, obviously we have to give a massive shout out because there is a ton of work in this one from Sergio let's just say Sergio. So Sergio, a massive shout out to you on Reddit. I'll leave a link to this in the description so you guys can check it out. But basically, we're going to have a look at the tier list, the way it's formatted and stuff like that. And like I said, this is not perfect. You shouldn't look at this. And he even puts it in the comments here. It's not an Ascension priority guide. This is just basically looking at performance across the board in different areas. Obviously, early on, you're going to ascend based on trying to push campaign and stuff like that. And keep in mind, all characters are going to have different requirements for furniture, signature items, engravings and stuff like that. So it's not a progression guide. This is just looking at usage in the specific areas of the game in the end game type phase. So just keep that in mind. Take it with a grain of salt as always. But just, you know, I think these are really good because this one he does break down into the different aspects of the game. And then you can look at what aspect you're trying to work on and see some of the key units that maybe might help you. So I think that's disclaimers out of the way. Take it with a grain of salt. No tier list is perfect, but I just wanted to take a look at it because it is really well put together. So as you can see, we've got this scoring system laid out in this one. So I'm just going to go jump over to this spreadsheet and show you the basic system that we've got. So basically, when we saw the overall one, this is in the main post. This is where it values characters. So obviously the tree and the lone warrior are sitting there at 0 points. Massive rip. At least my boy Rigby is sitting there at 3. Thank you very much. So the point system, let's take a look at it. But first we're going to look at, let's go to this one. Where was it? But not details, game modes. Yes. So let's look at game modes. So this is the basic tier list for different game modes. So if you're just looking at certain game modes and you're trying to think, you know, you're a newer player, what's going to be useful in PvE for campaign progression, tower progression, all that stuff. You can look here and get a feel for what's sort of being used, what's sort of meta. Like I said, everything's going to mix around. Me personally, I feel like Kren can creep up a little bit. Maybe something like Queen might drop down a little bit. But, you know, it's all, you know, going to be personal preference and personal testing with what we get to. A lot of people are still using Iron's Albedo. I think Albedo is one for sure that longevity she just has because she buffs all dimensional units. So as more dimensionals come in, she's going to get better. So like I said, take it with a grain of salt. Those are just a couple of my little thoughts just to say, you know, nothing's perfect. Everyone has a different opinion, but I still think this is a great representation. If you're looking at it, obviously, you know, we've got something like Lucretia, going to be a fantastic unit for pushing forward. We've got Thorin, who Thorin Cheese is obviously still a thing. Rowan, I feel like can drop down a little bit now just because he used to be like the absolute god. He's still broadly used in many teams you can chuck him into, but obviously in the Mahira team, the Charm team, Charmazard, whatever you want to call it, he is going to be very, very relevant. Mishka, I definitely agree with Mishka. I'm a big Mishka fan. As you know, she was like my favorite character as soon as she came in with 2 wolves. She's just splashable in just about any team and she brings high value. So I think she's fantastic. But then we can jump into PvP, look at some of the more meta units. Obviously got Merlin providing that mitigation, which is going to be huge. We've got Albedo. Those buffs are going to be even bigger in PvP than campaign because there's less deficit. Brutus being an absolute savage, and you can go in and have a look, you know, if you're looking at PvP, looking at, you know, trying to push that treasure scramble, stuff like that. Obviously in something like treasure scramble, you can also look at formations that other people are using to get good ideas as well, but this is a good rough representation of that. Cursed Realm and Twisted Realm. Now this is one that I basically wait for guides to come out and just copy or look at top players and copy formations. The Cursed Realm, Twisted Realm is a funny one because we can see other players' formations. It becomes a copy fest. I am a sheep. I follow the crowd, and this is going to be based off the sheep of Cursed Realm, Twisted Realm, I'd assume. And then we have Temporal Rift. So Temporal Rift is another one. You can get some pretty juicy rewards with the time gazers from it. So it is something that is a bit later game that you will focus on, but it is still quite a relevant game mode as well for getting those rewards. Like I said, it's not so you don't care about this early game because you don't even have it unlocked, but it does become a very, very strong source of income. So that is the Temporal Rift. And then Abyssal Expedition and Hunting Fields. Now, this only matters if you're trying to push. I feel like this could almost have like no weighting in it for general players unless you're trying to push ranking, because Abyssal Expedition and Hunting Field, you can basically get all the rewards with just scraps you put together and not stress about it. This is only for rankings, so keep that in mind. So then we go to the details. So this is where it's all constructed, individual ratings across each section, and then the weightings. So as you can see here, Abyssal Expedition and Hunting Field are multiplied by 3. I'd love to see the results on this if Abyssal Expedition and Hunting Fields were multiplied by 0. I feel like giving them that high of a rating is sort of not necessary. Just because, like I said, you can do the stuff and get the rewards. That just becomes more for competitive ranking type stuff. Whereas you look at PvP, you look at campaign, that's where you're getting rewards. So that's just one thing I would personally shift up and take away the relevance of Abyssal Expedition and Hunting Field, because like I said, I just feel like they're not really contributing to the progression of a lot of players. That's just for competitive guilds trying to dominate. That would be my big thing. The other thing here, when we look at PvP, Legends Championship at 60% and Treasure Scramble at 40%, I think the rewards that Treasure Scramble give I'd almost like weigh it as Treasure Scramble being like 70% to Legends Championship 30% when you're looking at the teams you're building. But in general, PvP teams are going to be fairly similar, so that's not too much of an issue. So those are a couple of things I was looking at. The colors and the scores give the ranks. Then this is a pretty cool one. I like this. So the top 5 average for the different factions, the top 10 average for the different factions, and then the overall averages. I thought that was a really cool thing to throw in there that actually looks pretty solid. But then, like I said, as we come over here, we can check individual ratings for each of the characters across each of the aspects. Like I said, different people will have different ratings for different characters, but I feel like this is just a great sort of layout of a tier list. I love tier lists in this layout because it's a really good way just to get a representation of each of the characters. But once again, ratings, take it with a grain of salt, but it's a great way just to look at, okay, maybe I want to build this character. Is it going to be good for newer players, especially looking forward, but also for experienced players who maybe you're just getting to the point where you're starting to look at PvP and Treasure Scramble and stuff like that. Then you can look at the PvP rankings, get an idea. Like I said, there's always that option to look in game at the teams other players are using and go from there. But I just wanted to share this one with you guys because, like I said, there is so much work that goes into something like this. And I just have massive respect for people that put this much effort in there and put it out, because anytime anyone makes a tier list, trust me, I know because I've made them for multiple games, you're going to get criticized. But I just feel like the amount of effort that's gone in here, even if there are a few things that you may disagree with, I think overall it's just a great representation of a tier list and something that's just a really solid resource that can be iterated on and changed and evolved with the game as it progresses. So that is it. That is the tier list. Make sure you jump over, show some support on Reddit. Like I said, there's a lot of effort that goes into things like these. I love all the people in the community that do visual guides and stuff like that. They all put so much effort in, and it is greatly appreciated. So jump over the Reddit, drop a comment, show some support. But that is going to be it for this one, guys. Thanks for watching. Hope you have an awesome day, and I look forward to seeing you in the next one. Cheers.